in the right place now, so I'm gonna see. There is a feed coming through, so hopefully I'm just grabbing the ring. Wouldn't be me. Something wouldn't be happening. I don't know what happened with the previous stream. It was just like there was no sort of feedback at all. So I really don't know what happened there. I am going to I'm just going to go back to the YouTube studio, grab the link, post it onto Facebook quickly again with the right link, and then hopefully we will be in the right place. Do let me know if you can see me, or I don't know, I'm somewhere on the internet. Oh, Debbie, good evening. I hope you're good. I don't know what happened again. This sort of YouTube is just playing up with me, but we're gonna get it sorted. So I don't know what happened with that live. Let me just grab a link, and I'm just gonna sort it out. Gonna post it back onto Facebook. Just one second. And then we can get started. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk you through. We got some new beads came in last week, and I was so happy because we got 2mm round beads now, which are they're like the microcrystals but not faceted. So the 2mm round beads, and they are so beautiful. And I'm so happy with them, and I haven't tested them at all. So I'm just really, where is this gone? I'm just really happy that tonight I grabbed them all, and we're gonna have a little test. I got a couple of designs in my head already, what we can do, and then you tell me what. Let me just have a look. And added this one, added the link on it. It always happens at live, when we are live. No, I don't want that. Okay, I don't know what's happening with this one. This one is going funny on me as well, so I'm just gonna walk away. We are live. I can see comments coming through. So let's just get beading. Good evening, Teresa. Edward, good evening. Amelia, good evening. Celia, good evening. Nice to see you. Cherry, good evening as well. I don't know what happened, the one on Facebook. So on YouTube, the earlier one. We will just have to yeah, here we go. I think I found it and I can edit the link. So good evening, Debbie here. Randy, good evening. Just give me 2 seconds and we can get started. There we go. Saved. Cool. So I'm going to turn you down and I'm going to show you these beads. There is a couple of different shapes came in. They are the same materials as the microcrystals, but they are not they're not faceted. So we got these beautiful tube beads. They are 2 by 5mm in length. Maybe just a tiny bit thicker than 2 mil, so 2.5 by 5mm in. I'm just sort of looking up my eye, but I'm just gonna check. Yeah, 2.5 by 5mm in length, and we got these rounds, and I'm gonna grab some of these out as well. They are 2mm in size, and they are the same as our microcrystals, but they are not faceted. So I'm so excited to work with these because I haven't checked the size of the hole on them, which I'm going to show you how do I check something like that. When something new comes in, how do I check that what sort of projects they're going to be good for, or what we will be able to use them for. Very simple. I usually check it with D and double A thread as well, or tiger tail, or some other mediums as well, what we use, but I'm just going to be checking it with D for you. And what I do and how I check what sort of patterns we'll be able to do with these beads is, I'm just going to show you on both of them, is quite simply, it's a very simple check, but it's quite good to check it that way, because it will tell you when you look at a pattern, it will tell you that how it will be able to sort of because sometimes you have to pass through a bead multiple times, sometimes you only pass through a bead maybe 1 or 2 times. So it's depending on how the pattern is formed and how many times you have to go through particular beads, you will be passing through that bead. So let's have a look. So the test is, I thread a needle and thread, and it's really, really simple. I'm just going to get 5 of these beads, and I'm going to put all 5 of them on the needle. And I'm hoping they got a nice big hole on them. I'm using a size 11 needle, which is the needle what I use the most. Could have gone down to size 10. So quite simply, what we're doing is I'm going to take this down and I'm going to pass through these beads again. So I went through once, I'm going to go through again. So that's 2. And then I'm not going to stop there. I usually sort of just put it around my finger. I'm not going to stop there. So I know I can pass through the beads twice. And then I'm going to keep going. So that's 3 times. The microcrystals were like 4 to 5 times. So 3 times I went through. This is, don't forget, this is super on D. And I'm coming through the 4th time. And it is like now it's getting harder to pull the needle through. So I'm going to just grab them because they're quite small with a pair of pliers. And I'm going to see if I can get that needle through 5 times as well. Now, size 11 seed beads is about 5 to 6 times you can get it through. So this one we went through 4 times and I can't get it through the 5th time. So I usually call things like this like 4-timer, because I was able to get the thread through 4 times. So any patterns we create, because you're going backwards and forwards in the beads, we can only really truly pass through 4 times. And you can have a bit of a discrepancy in the size of the holes. So I really only want to design patterns where I'm going through 3 times with those beads. So the rounds, we know it's 4 times. Now let's have a look at the tubes. So we're going to go through once. I'm going to take it down. We're going to go through twice. We're going to go to 3 times. And I check more than 1 bead at a time, because sometimes 1 bead can be just a little bit for like 4 times. And will it go through 5 times? Yeah, but it was a bit harder to pull it through the 5th time. So the other one we were able to go through 4th time. This one is 5th time. Now let's see if we can get it through a 6th time as well. There is the hole. There we go. No, it's not going to go through. So we know now we can create a pattern with these tubes where we pass through with a needle and thread 5 times and 4 times this one. So I'm going to be kind of, whatever I do, I'm going to aim to passing through these tubes 4 times and then maybe 3 times of those ones. So let's get started. I got a couple of sort of patterns in mind. I love putting tube beads sort of side by side next to each other in ladder stitch, because I think they look so good. You can ladder stitch, you can do it with 2 needle, and you can do it with 1 needle as well. But I prefer 1 needle because there's more sort of control. With the 2 needles, you can just sort of get caught up with the thread. So if we do a ladder stitch with the tubes, let's have a look. What is it going to look like? Just thread this needle. Got the end. There's so many different colors of these. If you do look in the description, the link is there for you to have a look. They're brand new beads. they haven't been, like, they're on the website, but they haven't been sort of released on the website yet. So you're the first one to see it. Right. Good evening. Handcrafted by Liz. It seemed to get caught up with the snake stitch bracelet. Mina, good evening. what material the tubes, Kitti Cherry is asking. They are glass. They are the same materials as the coming from the same factory as the crystal, the microcrystal beads. Good evening, Kelly's here. Nice to see you. Joe, say hi, Kitti. Thank you, Mina, for reminding me about Creation Station. Apart from miracle beads for spring and summer, hematite is my favorite. So this is not hematite. They are glass. They're coming from the same factory as the microcrystals. And I'm so glad we just tested them. So you can go through 5 times in the tubes and 4 times in the rounds. So I'm just put both of them on there. I went through the first one another time. I'm going to come through the second one. And then I'm going to keep adding beads to this. So just picking up a bead, coming from the other side. Then stepping along. I love a leather stitch with tubes. I think it just looks really good. And then you will have a nice sort of thread path on the side, which you can either do brick stitch on, you can brick stitch down, or you can come through and add other bits of piece in it. We're going to try a couple of little patterns here. So I just want to try just the tube beads on their own, and then we can jazz it up with beads on the side. So all I'm keep doing it, this is leather stitch, is as my thread is exiting at the top, I'm going to pick up a tube, I'm going to come from the bottom, pull this up nice and tight, then come through the tube I just added. So each tube we only gone through twice, so we can then come around and go through at least one or two more times to add beads to the side. So I'm just going and adding tube by tube. I'm going to add one on there, and it's so nice to. And I was talking about this, about the snake stitch this morning as well, that it's so nice to see sometimes do things which is a little bit more simple, because less, for me, sometimes less is more. It just can be so elegant. So I quite like just to make sort of a long strip of this. And if you put this on the wrist, you can see that it's quite sort of smallish, but I love the color of them. I really do. Another 2 minutes around. Yay. Yeah, we're going to get those ones out in a second as well. And then we're going to try to use them together. Joe's saying, oops, they look like rainbow plate hematite. Yeah, they do. They're kind of like that shape as well, but they are £1.50 a strand. So they're much cheaper than hematite. And we got, I don't know, about 20 different colors. I will grab some more out later on, and they're glass. They are really a beautiful quality as well. And when you do stitching like this with beads, that's when you kind of see what sort of quality they are, because you can if they stitch them together like this, you can see how well they sit in with each other. So I could keep on going, doing this leather stitch sort of all the way along the bracelet. I'm just going to add a few more. So you have got a couple of inch sort of worth. And then we'll see how we go. I do have another idea already, including the other beads. But equally, we could add seed beads with them as well. But I'm just going to use these right now. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then pulling this up. There we go. Right, let's add one more. One more for luck. I'm bringing down. Right, so Barbara, good evening, lovely, or if you're from Florida, it's good afternoon for you, isn't it? Minnie's saying, just watching and getting my burger for dinner. Oh, bless. I had chili tonight. I haven't had chili for quite some time. So what I want to try is to add, because this is very nice and simple, but we kind of want to jazz it up with it. I could grab some crystals out, but because I got these beads in front of me, I'm just kind of going to put them to the side and go back and see how is it going to look like if I stitch it on the top. And they are the same color as well, so maybe perhaps I should go and choose another color. So I'm going to run down, adding it on one side. Let me just pull this through. And then we can run back and add them onto the other side. And if we wanted to add further beads, we could always anchor into these little... It's getting harder to go through on some of the beads. So some of the beads been through 1, 2, 3 times. We've been through 3 times. So this is the 4th time we are going through, because we go through once when we add it on, then we come through it to step up, then we go through the bead when we join the next bead on. So each one of these beads have been through 3 times. So perhaps we need to come up with a different sort of strategy, because might not be able to come back on ourselves and add the bead to the other side, because maybe the hole is not going to be quite that big. I know we could use a thinner thread. We could go down to AA with them, and then would definitely work out, because AA thread is somewhat thinner, so we could try that. Joy's saying, I've been missed as I've been so busy. Oh, bless. I think everybody's busy at the moment. Like I'm so busy. I haven't really got time to stop. And I think everybody's, I can't believe like we are to the end of November now, and there is hardly anything left of this year. Christmas is like 4 or 5 weeks away now. So let's see if we can go back on ourselves to add. I mean, that's quite nice as well. I quite like the pattern, the sort of bubbles up and down as it goes along. But let's see if we can go back on ourselves and add the pair on the other side. Yeah, it's harder to pull through. Definitely, if I pull this through, I'm going to have to use either a thinner thread, or I'm going to have to kind of like sort of force it through a bit. And you don't really want to force the needle through the beads, because once you start forcing it through and you see I have to really pull on it, then you can run the risk that the bead is going to crack. So this pattern, going back on itself, adding the beads, is not going to work out with it. So we either need to go down on a size of thread, perhaps a thin needle, or we need to come up with a different way of adding them on. Maybe we add them on so they're already on there, and we're going to have a little gaps in between then if we add the round in. But let's have a look how would that look like. So I'm just going to cut this, and I'm going to pop this to the side, because I know now they won't be able to go all the way back on this. It would still look cool if we just had sort of the beads, and we can come back on either side. I'm just going to actually go through this and see how big is that gap. We could come back on either side and stitch back into those. That's too big, but we could stitch something else in the gap there as well. Might go for a thinner needle. So because I'm using super long size D is what I have, it's quite hard to thread a size 12 needle with D, so you definitely have to go down to AA. Now let's have a look what happens if we include those beads from the start, and then we kind of don't need to come back on ourselves. So I'm going to start with not with 2 tubes together, but tube round, tube round. So those beads are already going to be, and I'm going to go through the tube, round and tube, so I'm in position to add further beads. So if I pull this up nice and tight, we are going to have sort of a bit of gap in between, but sometimes that works out nice as well. So I'm going to pick up a round and a tube and a round. I'm exiting at the bottom, so I'm going to come from the top, pull this up nice and tight, and then come through the round and the tube, and I'm in position to add my next one. So I'm picking up a round tube round, and as I'm exiting at the bottom, I'm going to come from the top and I'm going to keep on going, adding a few more units to this, and we see how's it going to look like. There we go. I think the other way, when we just had the tubes, was a bit more even. I can already see that they kind of don't sit sort of that's even next to each other, but perhaps when we come back and add bits to the side, they're gonna sit more evenly. And I know why they don't sit evenly, because on one side you always have got like the thread path going on an extra time, then on the other side is always one less, so it's always gonna sit in that sort of V shape, and then upside down V shape, and then coming through there, going up, stepping up. So that's if we add a little bead in between. I have to be honest, I'm not I kind of like symmetry, and I like when things kind of sit in a regimental order. So something like this, sometimes for me, it's like, I just want those beads to sit straight. I just want those beads to sit straight, and they're not sitting straight. So we need to make them sit straight. I'm going to add a couple more, and then we're going to turn and we see what we can put in the side. I might need to grab some seed beads or something else in between. But there's a few more different patterns actually we could try. We could try like little windows with them, like little squares. It would look really good. How about 2 beads instead of a bugle, like in the middle? Yeah, that could work as well. We could cross over in the beads. Right, I'm going to turn back around and see what we can add in the gap here. I reckon, how about if we just add 1 bead? How much is it going to pull it together and pull it to the right way if we just add 1 bead into the gaps there? Oops, I got my thread out or not. This, of course, could be different color beads, so we don't have to use the same color beads. They could be different color beads what we use. We could add, add seed beads to the pattern, all sorts of different things. There we go. I don't know what's happening with my thread. Are you twisted, thread? Let's have a look. Are you twisted? A little bit, not too much. So I'm going to keep going down, and I'm going to add 1 in between those gaps and just see how's it going to look like, what happens. A few more beadies, because if you do this on both sides, it should give us the right width, sort of the right gap. Pull the beading in the right amount. There we go. I was thinking, because it's almost Christmas, the cylinders would look good as an ornament. They are quite small, so do you mean like on like a bauble? We could do something to put it on the bauble. Right, I'm crossing over to the other side. Now, of course, if I wanted to create like a pattern where they kind of sit, I could just pull those together and then it would give me a curved shape. So without picking up any extra, I could just go through those beads. Oh, Tracy's saying yes. Yeah, I think they would look good in a bauble as well. in all sorts of different patterns. You know, like any technique you use to make a bracelet could be done for a bauble, because you could do like, as you imagine a bracelet, a straight bracelet to go around the bauble, and you kind of sort of hang it at top and bottom. And there we go. I'm just going to add a few more. Now that I'm going back on there and adding the missing ones in, although my thread is flying up, I kind of like it because it's sitting a bit more straighter, how it sat before, but still not 100% how I want it to sit. So I think we need to move along and kind of do another thing with it. What if we had 4 of those tubes together? How would that look if you create sort of a little square? And I have been like lately kind of sort of mesmerized with squarish patterns. I do go through sort of trends within me, doing sort of different shapes. Yeah, still not quite straight, not as straight as I want it to be. So we need to do something, something different there to straighten them up. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get a new piece of thread because this one is being a bit naughty, and see what we can do. I do like this original one. I think it's definitely worth to try it with smaller thread and perhaps something else on the side. Right, thread. I'm still using D. I'm not going to go down to AA just yet. So we see what else we can come up with. And I'm going to grab some seed beads as well in a minute. Right, so what happens if you pick up 4 of these beautiful tubes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what if we did 3 and it would be a triangle? That would look really good as well. And I'm gonna come through the first 3, some kind of away from my tail then. Maybe I need to go all the way around. So if we created little squares, now we could join these squares by the corners. We could join these squares like right here. I could, if I picked up another 3, 1, 2, 3, and if I come through that one again, but then that bead, I would have been through the 3rd time and we would not be able to go through much more. And let's have a look. And I'm gonna go further away again with a few more tube beads off the strand. And let's pick up another 3. So we're creating the kind of same stitch, but we are adding the beads together in a different way. So it does and we could add bits in between. We could add different beads, a bicone in the sort of the square there. Also, ooh, that would look good as well. I just thought of something else. So 1, 2, 3. When we're working with the bugles as well, a few weeks back, I was going to squares and cubes then as well. I don't know, I just like geometric shapes so much. Well, let's add a couple more and then we see what we can do. So if we had this as a base for a bracelet or a necklace, what can we do to jazz it up, as they say, to make it more sparkly? And then, of course, we could add other bits in between as well. Right, okay, so I think that will be enough. So let's have a look. I could run down on one side and add, I think those beads are going to be too small because it's going to be pulling it together. And just take off a few more of the strands. Maybe a V shape, yeah. Let me just add these in here and see how we go. So if we made a whole bracelet or a necklace, I don't know how rigid it's gonna sit when we add it in. Going all the way down. Then I'm gonna turn around and come up, and that's kind of like an easy pattern there. Actually, I'm not gonna add one right at the corner. But there's all sorts of different things we could do with these. Once you kind of have, just pull this tight, this ends, once you kind of have, or maybe I should have added one on the corner. Never mind. Once you kind of have a, you play around with these beads, and I often keep these little samples. I just put them to the side, and you go back and you kind of like feel about them. Like, I like that, but I want to add something else onto the top, or you know, vice versa. You want to add more or take away from it. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and cross stuff, I quite like that as a little ladder. If you wanted to cross things over the top of it, then we would have to be going through those beads again, which I'm not sure if we could go through it again, because we would have a problem that we could zigzag it. We could zigzag something, we could zigzag a crystal on the top, but we could only go through one more time those beads. Let me just grab a crystal bicone and we see that what we can do. What sort of size we can add on to the top. Right, where are my bicones? Or perhaps a pearl or a cube. I'm just going to grab the first one, which is comes to hand, which is this sort of size. I think that would kind of fit in the gap. I know it's not the right color, but never mind. We're just going to try it to see if the shape fits. Just going to pull this through. So if I wanted to add something in the middle, and I'm just going to add that crystal, probably I should have done that before I added the edge. That could be something sort of to add to the top. Let me just go and add it all the way in the middle. It's slightly twisting it, so I think it's kind of not big enough. There we go. So it's kind of not big enough, I think. We need to come up with something different with it. So how about, I'm going to grab some seed beads. And I do have another idea. So it's kind of twisting it as I'm thinking, but actually it looks quite good with the crystals in there, but I think it needs to be played with the different sizes. Right, I'm going to grab some seed beads, and what size? Size 11, I think, with those. And the ones I want is, where are they? Oh, these will do. That would be a nice color with it. So, I've got another idea. So let's just cut this at the end. What if we have, so we need either 3 or 5 seed beads. So I'm going to pick up one tube. I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads and another tube. I'm going to go down. I'm going to come through all of them one more time. So I want more of a solid base. And then I'm going to come through the tube and the first 2 seed beads. Or should have had a seed bead at the bottom as well. Never mind. to kind of open it up. 3 is not going to be enough. As I can see, it's not going to sit how I want it to sit. So we're going to need 5. So I'm going to pick up 1 tube. I'm going to pick up 5 seed beads. I'm going to pick up another tube. I'm going to come through these seed beads from the other side, the one I'm exiting, and then pull it up. And then go up through the tube and 3 seed beads. And again, I'm going to pick up 1 tube. Again, we're doing the same pattern, but by using different beads, it's going to look completely different. Oh, Lucy's saying, oh my goodness, I forgot all about you. Oh, bless you. You're here. That's what counts. So we can keep going on. Maybe we need even more than 5. Or we need something else in there as well. Maybe a larger bead. Have we done? I think we've done a similar pattern a long time ago. But I think that would be a nice little pattern as well. I need more tubes. Sort of something simple. There we go. So again, picking up tube, picking up 5 seed beads, another tube coming through from the other side, and then going up through the tube and through 3 seed beads. Tube, 5 seed beads. They look like little cupcakes on top of each other, aren't they? Or is it just only me? 1, 2. We have been eating cakes all day with Leanne. So I got like sort of cakes on my mind. We had Eccles cake. We had like an apple thingy, pastry, then chocolate cake. Then we had biscuits. Like it was like sugar-filled day all day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another tube coming through. Oops, we've got a knot there. What happened to you? Let's undo that knot quickly. I need another pair of There we go. I'm going to pull this apart. There we go. And I'm gonna go again. And this will give us a nice little pattern going all the way down. Now I do think there is something else missing from this. This is cute, like with a little sort of, I can only see cupcakes here. Do tell me, what do they look like? What do they look like? What we can see in here, but I do think if we had some other beads as well in there, might look even better. But again, it's the same. This is the same pattern as this, as this, as this in terms of thread path, and look at how different they all are. I do like this one the best. So I think what can we do? What can we do with that one? We need to jazz that one up a bit. 100%. We need to do something with it. So what can we do with that one? Oh, this is saying BeadClub wore me out and I needed a nap. Yeah, I was in the Bead Club today for 4 hours. We're doing the base for the tree. Where's the base gone? Where's the tree gone? There's the tree. We are doing the beaded Christmas tree in the Bead Club at the moment. So we've been making this and we were doing the base. Let me just zoom out a bit. The top is removable. We were doing the base and we had that 4 hours this afternoon. I love it. I really, really do love it. So how shall we jazz this up? I think, because they are glass beads, but they are like kind of like shiny as a crystal already. So perhaps a pearl would look nice with it. Maybe how does that look? Where are my pearls? Here are my pearls. How would it look if we had like just one pearl in the middle like that on the top. How would that look? Let me just have a look. Let me just get these pearlies. And I got an idea what we could do. So if I picked up, put this to the side, my sort of usual pattern, so a tube, 5 seed beads, another tube, come through here. But instead of going all the way to the top, if I just went through the first seed bead, then I picked up a pearl, I diagonally will go across and go through this seed bead on the other side. Doesn't matter if I go from top to bottom or bottom to top. Then I am gonna push this sort of pearly in there. Maybe it's a little bit too big. Maybe we need 3 mil. Then I'm gonna come back through the pearl. I'm gonna go into that seed bead I was coming out with and continue my stitch all the way to the top. How does that look? It does open, the 4 mil opens it up, but I think I do a couple more with the 4 mil, and then I think we will try the 3 mil because 3 mil pearl will might sit nicer in the middle. So 5 seed beads and another tube coming through from the other side. I'm gonna come up through the tube and the first seed bead, pick up a pearl, and that by just adding that one pearl, it's kind of like changes. I'm going to come to the other side. I'm going to go through the first seed bead after the tube on that side, coming through the pearl. Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. We could use the 4 mil if we added 7 seed beads in the instead of the 5. Let's try that first because there is definitely a gap there for a couple of seed beads. So again, tube, I'm going to add 7 seed beads, not 5, because I need a central one, and another tube. Now let's see how big is this going to get. I'm going to come through the other side. I'm going to go up through the first tube and the first seed bead. I'm going to pick up a pearl, jump onto the other side, go through this single seed bead here, just pull this nice and tight, come back through the pearl, and then go up through that seed bead and come to the middle. I quite like that, but I think we need to create a thread path between those as well. So if then we went all the way down through that tube and back up on the other side, then that will give us like a point in the middle. So it will, so can you see like there's like little gaps there, but if I go and create the thread path just there, it will just tighten those tubes together. I do wonder if then, if we pushed another seed bead in here, what would that look? So if I grabbed another seed bead, well, on the way down, we would have to do it on the other side. I'll do it in the next unit. So to the top, and we could, of course, we could like this bead here could be a different bead. Like it doesn't have to be a size 11. It could be, and I'll grab a bigger seed beads and we can have a look. Tube first, tube, then 5 seed beads and another tube coming together from the other side. I'm gonna go up to the tube and the first seed bead, pearl again, rondelle 6x4 won't fit to this tear shape. Yeah, a rondelle could fit. Maybe a 6x4 would fit. We can try it. Let me just, I've actually got some here because I was using them for the snake stitch this morning. So I can grab some. Let me just put, let me just finish this unit, and then we could try it with the rondelle as well. And pull this up. I'm gonna go back through the purl. Oh no, we did 7, not 5. I did the wrong unit. Never mind. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna turn up and do 7 beads on the next one. So again, tube, 7 seed beads, not 5. Why didn't you say anything? You need to keep me straight. You know that. 7 seed beads and the tube coming from the other side. Going, yes, that's better. Going up through the tube and the first seed beads. Picking up a pearl. Coming through the seed bead on the other side. It doesn't matter if I go top or bottom. Back to the pearl. And then up on this side, and I want to go around the whole unit. Now what I was thinking earlier to do is, could we perhaps add an extra seed bead in here as we go down? But I think it's gonna make it too big, so I'm just gonna go down. Let's try it. I'm gonna pick up a seed bead and I'm gonna try to force a seed bead in there and see how does that alters the shape. And then I'm gonna go straight up the tube. I didn't go through the seed bead at the bottom. I'm gonna pick up another single seed bead and try to force that in there on that side. But I think it distorts the shape too much. So that even if you use something else, it made it more sort of a cone shape rather than a round shape on the top. So it's not, we don't need those seed beads. Let me just try. Let me just grab a strand of 4x6 rondelle so we can try that as well. I got this color. This color we do. This is right here. So let's see if this works. So I'm gonna run out of thread. Tube, 7 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another tube coming through on that side. Then I'm gonna go up through the tube and the first seed bead. I'm gonna pick up one of those rondelles. I'm gonna come down or go up on the seed bead on the other side. Make sure this is nice and tight. I'm gonna come through the crystal and then I'm gonna go up through the seed beads, and then to sew the whole unit together. And actually that's quite, I think, a good thing to do, because once you sew the unit all together, you kind of take the stress away from the crystal, because the pull of the next unit will be sort of on the seed bead rather than the crystal. I think that looks really good. Well done. Cheyenne suggested that looks really, really good. Thank you for suggesting it. And then we could go on. It does kind of like pop in a little bit, but I think it fills that shape quite nicely. Let's do another unit on the top, and I hopefully got just enough thread to add another unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another tube coming through from the other side, going up through the first tube and first seed bead, picking up a crystal, going down or going up, doesn't really matter what way we're gonna go through this seed bead here. Just my thread is so very little. Make sure this is nice, and I'm just getting caught with myself. Nice and tight, coming through the crystal, back up through that seed bead. So what we did here is this seed bead and this seed bead, both of those sides of the seed beads are connected to the crystal. So it's centralizing the seed bead on the top of the hole of the crystal. And I'm going to come down, not going through the seed bead, just the tube. I'm kind of like pulling these tubes together so they will be nice and tight. And then going to them. I really love this one. I love this crystal with it. What do we think? What's better, the crystal or the pearl? Teresa is saying I really like that. Oh, Ruth is saying please click the thumbs up button. Thank you so much. Every single like, every single thumbs up, every single share is really helps the channel out. I like this one. I think there is definitely mileage in this one. And actually with this stitch, so if we connect the next unit on the middle, then obviously it's going to be straight. If we connect the next unit on the angle, so don't connect it to the third seed bead, but connect it to the fourth seed bead, then it's going to be like a slightly exaggeration and curve, and it will be perfect for a necklace. So I'm gonna go and have a little play with this next week. You never know. I might even put some colors and do some little kits with it, because I think that looks definitely good. So let's just recap. First we tried this, definitely mileage in it, need to use a thinner thread. And then we tried this with the beads in between. I don't like that one. I've dipped my hand, that just does not look straight enough for me, and I need my beads straight. And then we did this one. I like this. Again, I think this needs to be worked, because not everything kind of like sitting straight. But the concept, I think it would work. But we need something different. Maybe if you use the cube bead, I don't know, that would like sort of got the angles, a 2mm cube or something like that, that would keep it straighter. But I love this one. So definitely, thank you so much. I'm going to play with that one. I like that little V shape with, even if you've gone down to size 15. I don't know if I've gone up to size 8. If I've gone up to size 8, then would that match the thickness of the tube better? I will have a little play. Right, everybody, thank you so much for, or shall we try it? So shall we try it? I'm just saying, I'm just going to conscious of the time. I need to take Roxy out, but I'm going to try. Let's try it. Let's try the size 8. I was like, if I put it down, you know what's going to happen? I'm just going to end the live, and I'm going to sit here regardless and try it anyway. So let's try it. Let me just grab some size 8. Size 8, where are you? There are you. Well, there's some size 8 there. That's really the purple one will do. Because like I'm looking at Roxy, and it's like, oh, like she's sitting up now, so I know that she's ready to go out. But if I know that I will end the live and I sit here for the next 10 minutes. Yeah, 5 more minutes. Absolutely, Lucy. Absolutely. This is the one more row night, which is like always say when you do something, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to do 5 more minutes. I'm just going to do 1 more row. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. And like you end up sitting there pretty much all night and doing it. But I want to try it with size 8 and see what is it going to look like. Right, I need a few more tubies. Let's get another strand off here. Do check it out. They're on the website. Nobody's seen them yet. Someone just sent me the links like 10 minutes before I went live. So let's just get rid of these size 11s. Just push them out of the way. So I'm going to put a size 8 on the bottom, because 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 will be enough of the size 8. Sometimes you have to go up in size. Sometimes you have to come down in size. But sometimes you have to go up. And I'm going to go through. Actually, I'm going to go through all of them. I'm going to come through the first one. I'll go up until the first seed bead. And then I'm going to pick up a crystal. Come through the other side. Go back up through the crystal and up to the top. No, 5 is not going to be big enough. I can see that now. I'm going to sew the whole unit together, but I can see that the crystal is kind of sitting on the top. So let's do it 7. I'm going to come down and I'm going to miss that seed bead. I'm going to go up to the top. 5, even with the size 8 we need. It's sort of sitting on the top of it. And I would like this one to sit in the middle. I can push it in, but I think it will pop out. So can you see sort of one side is sitting more towards one side than the other one? Right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pick up one tube. I'm going to pick up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another tube. Come through that seed bead again. And then I am going to, I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to come out of the first seed bead. And pick up the crystal. I like the size 8 better already. Go to the seed bead on the other side. Come back through the crystal. Up to the seed beads. Oops. Up through these seed beads. All the way to the other side. I'm going to come down. And the seed bead got caught. There we go. Come down into the tube and up in the other tube towards the top. How does that look? Does that look better? I think the seed beads are matching the tube better in size. The size 11s were quite a bit small. Let's do another couple of units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And another tube coming through this. And then coming up the tube and the seed beads. I like the size 8 Teresa is saying as well. I need a crystal. Coming through on the other side. Coming back through the crystal. Up through the seed beads. Again, I'm gonna go back down and go around the whole unit. I like the size 8s better. Down to the tube. I'm gonna miss that size 8 and go up the tube on the other side. And pull this up. And then we would be ready to go up and add the next unit. I think the size 8s are better than the they still look like, they don't look like cupcakes so much. I think they look like feathers maybe now. I don't know. What do they look like? Do let me know. The colors are not the best, obviously, because we were just grabbing anything off the shelf here to use. But I think that for the pattern, it does really work. Coming through. Up. I'm just going to do one more. Just one more. Just one more row. Just one more unit. We're going to keep on going and we're going to be here. Going up through this seed. Pick up colors, absolutely. Coming back through that crystal. Up through this seed bead. And I'm going to run around the whole unit before I move on to the next. I do like this. And up here. There we go. It's nice, and sometimes with size 8 it's always it just feels like a bit more sturdy. But I love that pattern. I think there's definitely got ice cream cones. Yeah, definitely more like if you had longer tubes, it would look like even more sort of ice cream scone. Ice cream. Oh, no, I can't talk now. Let me take a sip of my tea. Ice cream. Ice cream scones. There we go. We got there. I think it looks good. So to go put this one next in comparison, I think what happens here, that the size 11 sort of goes in, and the size 11s are not matching the tube in size, so it looks nice, but it kind of still not the sort of right size. Now I'm thinking if I changed this bead for a different bead here, then they would sit better. Maybe a bicone would look quite nice. Maybe a bicone would look nicer. Where's those bicones we had? Because they got those, this one is going to be too big, but they got those sides, which then they could sit into it. So let's have a look. I'm just going to have a look at this. I need a smaller bicone, but this one will do for now. So, and I'm going to pick up 3 seeds. I'm going to pick up a bicone, another 3 seeds, and a tube. I'm going to come through this again here. And let's see if I go up now. I'm going to add the crystal in. And obviously if I did, I would make the bicone to match the color. I'm gonna go up through here. I'm gonna sew the whole unit together because it doesn't sit quite sort of right just yet. But let's add another unit, one more unit, and I think the bottom of the tubes might just sit. It needs a smaller bicone though. Bicone, but tube 3, another bicone. One just had these on the desk, and another tube coming through the bicone again. Gonna go up through the tube and the first seed. Pick up a rondelle, go to the other side, come back through the rondelle. Now this is going to be the sort of the deciding moment, because when I run down and pull those tubes together to see how they're going to sit on the top. Bear in mind the bicone is too big, so I'm aware of that, but I do think it's gonna sit, yeah, it's gonna sit nicely. So if we had the bicone a bit smaller, which is need to be, sort of the tubes would anchor onto the side. Let's go through this bicone as well, so we're right to the top. So I think that would look quite nice as well, but then we would change, we need to change some of the other beads to sort of match it. But see, there's so many different like opportunities, there's so many different things. Just by changing one bead you can do all sorts of different things. But I better go now. I better take this little girl out because she's just sitting up, she's waiting to go out. So everybody have a beautiful evening. I'll be back next Wednesday. I don't know what we're going to be playing with, but see, we got new bits of pieces coming in, and I'm just sort of dying to sit down and have a play with it, play with them all. So we will see. But I have a rummage for next week what we can play with. We do need to do some more Christmassy bits as well. Christmas is coming up. So everybody have a beautiful week. I'll be back on totally Wednesday morning, back here Wednesday night. I'll be in the Bead Club, be doing this beautiful tree. And otherwise, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I love every single one of you. You're just so nice. Like, you keep turning up and like keep watching me. I cannot say how I'm thankful, and it makes me feel really, really good. And now I remember what color those tubes remind me about, between metallic plum iris and metallic dragonfly from Toho. Yes, absolutely. They're more like the dragonfly colors on one side and more the plum on the other side. But it depends when they played these, what side of the color is taken. But do check them out on the website. The link is in the description, because they're brand new. Nobody had them before. They're £1.50 a strand, and yeah, so that you will be the first one to see them. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful evening, and I see you very, very soon. Bye, 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 bye.